Hello everyone, this is Angel from Have Faith, Let It Begin. We have reached 80 episodes, and I was thinking, what exactly could I do for this 80th episode? So, this is what I decided. Back in 2001, as I was dealing with a breakup and a depression, I was asked to transfer over to Providence, Rhode Island with the sales company that I was in, and I took the opportunity to get out and try and start a new life. What I didn't know was that the position I took was going to put me in a hostile work environment, a negative environment, one that would change my life forever. You know, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. To begin our 80th episode, this is a 3-part series entitled Negativity, Part 1.
Don't you see that your faith is coming alive? Don't you see that it's tested every time? He's the one that makes your life divine. He's the one that makes you feel fine. Your faith's being tested.
Have faith? Let it begin. Hello everyone, my name is Angel, and welcome to another episode of Have Faith, Let It Begin. I'm hoping each and every one of you are having an amazing week. We want to just remind each and every one of you that we are available weekdays at 6 a.m. with an occasional live show that air on 7 a.m. And we will have post notifications ahead of time to let you know when our live shows are up and ready to go. Folks, we want to start off by thanking GABBIE Santana for the use of our theme song, Tested. GABBIE Santana has her own YouTube channel, GABBIE Santana. We encourage all of you to go out there, subscribe, and view all her original content, original music. She performs it, she writes it, she produces it at 14 years of age, all on her own. Thank you, GABBIE, for your constant support. We'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this show. If you're new to our show, we encourage you to take a look back at all the episodes that we've had, because we are on a roll and we feel that this is the opportunity for you to, come aboard and listen to us on your daily commute. Well, let's get started. Folks, I want to talk to you today about something that I feel continues to be a battle amongst us all, especially in our daily encounters. A while back, we did an episode called Bad Attitude. Well, now we're going to do one today called, and we've also done, Rude People. We're going to do one today called Negativity. Every single day that we venture out into the world, we will encounter different type of personalities, different type of people. When I say different type of people, I'm not talking about race. I'm not talking about religion. I'm just talking about genuinely different people in the sense of attitude, in the sense of negativity. So we are all one body. We are all, God's children. It doesn't matter where we come from. Doesn't matter our beliefs. What all that matters is we're all human. We all should be kind and respectful to one another. Yes, there are different types of situations that we're put in where maybe individuals need to be put in their place. They can be done so in a very respectful manner. It's kind of that old cliche. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Being polite is something that I feel I am grateful that I was raised in that environment. My parents are extremely polite people. My parents have always taught me to respect my elders, respect thy neighbor, respect thy enemy. Many times in my life, I have encountered people that when I was in the workforce they did not want to be around me because they felt that I was fake. And the reason why they say that is because of the fact that I was always in a good mood. Now, if you know me, there are days when I'm extremely cranky. I mean, I'm human. There are days when I am stubborn. Well, that's every day if you talk to my wife. But in all seriousness, yes, we all have our moments. But I try and I do my very best. And I would say 90% of the time, I never take it out on anyone. That other 10% usually is with my best friend Brian and my in-laws. I'll be honest. I'm just being honest. I'll get hit for that one. But anyway, the hardest thing that I think we will do as individuals is it's really a lot of it deals with the workforce. And we've talked a lot about the workforce, about our jobs and what we do. Let me give you an example what I mean by negativity. For over 20 years, as you all know, if you've been following our shows, I was in sales for many years, and I'll never forget when I took my first leadership role in the sales division. I quickly moved up the corporate ladder. I was asked to be a supervisor. And my first shift was on a Saturday. Now, mind you, I was not on the phones as a sales representative for very long. And they pulled me and they decided to use me as a supervisor. So I moved up and they announced me in front of the entire sales floor. And I remember one lady yelling out, "So what's he going to be doing?" And I looked up and I said, "I'm going to be smiling. I'm going to be doing my best to help everybody become successful." She says, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, wow, that was kind of rude. And, you find out later that she was up for the position and she was looked over and they chose me over her. And eventually she earned her spot and she earned her keep and she was a very good coach. And you find out later that, people were telling her things that were not true. They were saying things like, "Hey, the reason why he got the job is because, he became really good friends with the manager." Not even true. At that time, my mentor, Ralph, and I had not struck a bond enough that I felt we were going to be managers or colleagues, in that same position. But I think what he saw in me was the drive, the will, and the ability to relate with people and to treat them respectfully. I had respect of my peers until I took that position. As I moved up the corporate ladder and became higher in my position, I constantly battled other colleagues who would always come in with a negative attitude. They would come in because maybe at home life wasn't too well, which goes back to what we said about leaving things at the door. I've had individuals come up to me and say, "Can you just stop? Can you please just stop? For 1 second, can you complain about something? That's all you talk about is the good, the good, the good." Life is not good. Life is not always that good. You know what? That is true. Life always has its moments. And as I've told you all before, we all have challenges. We all have our daily struggles. We all have our storms. We all battle different circumstances. But you see, what I do is that when things get rough and I turn on to my faith, I also turn on something else. I look at all the things in this world that could be worse. I think of the people out there that are struggling with diseases, struggling with illness, struggling with money and finances. And I think to myself that I'm not in that position. But I also pray for those that are struggling. Life can always be worse. Life could always be different. But it's what you make of it that allows you the ability to be successful, to be positive, to be exceptional. Many times I walk into a room and an individual looks at me and goes, "Oh boy, here comes Happy Pants." I'll be honest with you. It becomes more frustrating when people look at you negatively because you're positive. That I still have difficulty with. Some of you may be listening to this show and saying, "Oh my gosh, does this guy ever talk about anything other than the good?" Well, you haven't listened to all my episodes. As all of you know, I battle storms each and every day. My faith is tested every day. I have had colleagues at my job accuse me of things that either I have not done or I have done in a professional manner, but they didn't feel it was done correctly. I remember a time when I was living in Providence, Rhode Island, and one of my managers who was the same level as I, he, actually that's not true, let me be more specific. They had these positions called shift leaders and then team leaders, and we all held the same position by title of assistant branch manager, but then there's ones that are in charge of the entire shift. And at the time, I was not a shift leader yet. I was a team leader, and my shift manager was in charge of overseeing both floors. I was in charge of the new hires, and my job was to make sure that they sold 4 sales an hour, which we called a 1.0 SPH, sales per hour. Our goal was to continue to make the new hires become successful so that they can move up to the next level. And they did it in the form of like Olympics: bronze, silver, and gold. So bronze were new hires, silvers were the ones that were new hires but on the point of either up or out, meaning they've reached a level where they either have to be moved up to gold or we have to make a decision whether we're going to keep them or not. I mean, that's sales, unfortunately. So, as a sales manager of the new hires, bronze and silver, my goal was to have an overall sales per hour in the room of 28 individuals of a 1.0, which means almost everybody on the sales floor had at least 4 sales. Or mathematically, we reached a goal of 1 sales per hour. And you take the sales divided by the hours, and that's how you do it. So, we not only were exceeding that goal, we were beating our gold and platinum team. Platinum was considered the elite. And it got to the point where my manager was not looking pretty good. Now, we were not in direct competition because, honestly, my job was to get him up and over. So if I did my job, his team should really have already earned that spot and really should be maintaining the numbers. They had to do over a 2.0 an hour. So, and I'm hoping everybody's following me on this story because it does get to the point. He would find ways to take his low-producing sales operators and plug them into this thing we call the island. The island was a separate structure of 8 terminals that we had made, but that was designed for a third program that we never used at night. But because it was attached to my sales floor, anybody that sat there would go to my numbers. I'm hoping everybody's following me. He would, without me knowing, he would throw his low-producing sales representatives onto my terminal so that he could raise his numbers and mine would drop. I got furious. I said, "Why are you putting them on my side?" And he would say, "Oh, I saw your numbers are kind of low, and these are one of my best, and I want to help you out and get their scores higher." And they would come on and they wouldn't sell. And I would say, "Wait a minute, if they're so good, why aren't they selling?" "Oh no, just get them, give them a few more an hour. They got to warm up." and they'll start producing. So I ran over and ran his report, and I noticed that they had not sold at all on his shift. He was getting rid of his dead weight and putting them on mine. So I got mad. I got furious. And for 2 days, I literally had a temper tantrum. But then I spoke with my mentor. And my mentor, Ralph, said to me, if they're putting them on your terminals, then you can automatically claim them as your own. Turn it in your favor. So, the next day, I come in, and sure enough, in the middle of the evening, we're doing well, exceeding expectations, and I see he started to put people on the island. I walked over to him and said, if you put anybody else on this island, you no longer have claim to them. They are now my representatives. Believe it or not, you would think he would battle that. Oh no, he was very excited and said, yeah, I'll take it. So he gave me the sales reps. Within 2 weeks, I retrained them, and they were back to doing what they were supposed to do as gold. Now we were not only exceeding, we were hitting numbers that platinum and gold were supposed to be hitting. He then had the gall to walk up to our manager and say, Angel took my sales reps, I want them back. My sales manager, our sales manager, agreed that they were not mine, and he took them from me. I was very, very upset. All the work that I put in, all that opportunity that I created went out the door. And eventually, when bonuses came out, he got all the bonuses because his scores were higher than mine. That is negativity. That is someone doing something on purpose because he or she doesn't think they can succeed. When I approached them after our reviews, I said, I can't believe you would do that to me. I've been nothing but kind. I've been very supportive of you sending over your dead weight. And just when you needed those numbers, you took them from me. He looked at me and he said, at the end of the day, Angel, do you really think management in corporate office is going to know what I did? They only look at the bottom number. And those numbers are mine, not yours. That's crazy. I will tell you that at that moment, I probably wanted to choke him out, maybe even punch him out. But I went home, I cried. I'm not going to lie. I spoke with my father. He gave me advice. And he said, you have to do everything in your power to make your room be even better than that room. Even if he starts putting other people on the island, you have to get your sales reps so good that they can withstand their low scores. Because not all the time they're going to be sent over and they're going to do the numbers that you got them to do. It's time to step up. And we're over about 15 minutes now, so I'm going to stop right there and call this negativity part 1. I hope you tune in for part 2 as I explain and expose to you what else happened when I decided to overhaul my sales floor and change my environment, which ultimately, foreshadow, gave me the opportunity to become a shift manager. For Have Faith, Let It Begin. My name is Angel.